My name's Neville Moore. I was born in Kent. I've lived in sort of Kent and South East London all my life. I don't really operate in that area. I mean, my job, I work in sports sponsorship. I'm a designer, a brand expert. And I've been doing that for 35 plus years. Property is technically my second job. But unfortunately, I'm not in a particular area. I applied a scattergun approach to buying property, and I'd like to think that I actually went for the different bits of a spine, and I've got them scattered down the UK, which brings its own problems.
So you are, let me see, are you in Newcastle, York, Sheffield?
Nottingham,
a
bit lower down, Bexley Heath, and London,
and then Kent.
That's it, easy.
So, wow. Yeah, and I wish it was only that, but that's not the end of it, is it?
No.
You got some properties in, let me think, Spain?
Spain, yeah. I have 2 in Spain and 2 in the US, and but they're all equally as bad as each other. They're a complete nightmare.
So part of what you've been in the Elite program coming up a year now, haven't you?
Yeah.
And the first part of rationalising what you were doing was becoming clear on what am I keeping, what am I selling.
Yeah, I guess what I was really looking for was it was a bit like an SOS. It was like, please help. You know, I've got this whole thing that doesn't seem to be very well planned or thought at all. But in truth, it's evolved into a number of things. Not only have I got clarity on that, and but there are a number of things that I just didn't know. And you know, I mean, it's the one thing I'll say is there's clearly a lot for everyone to learn, including those who've done it before.
Yeah, the day you stop learning is the day you die. We
Absolutely.
All know that.
Yeah.
We all know that. But so part of my impression of your Elite journey is clarity, focus, and stopping doing things.
Yeah. I guess it's try and do things in a more sensible order, with a little bit more experience. You know, those people have helped guide me, yourself, you know, and the rest of the guys in the Elite team. Can't speak highly enough for them and the round table sessions we have. I mean, crikey, I mean, just completely invaluable. I mean, you know, even when technically it's not my problem, and it's somebody else's, it's nice to be involved, but equally you're learning stuff all the time, even when it's not yours. So it's almost a bit like you're solving the problem before it does become yours.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And if we focus on the bright side, in terms of making some extra money and making your existing investments work harder, is it okay if we just talk about your freehold purchase and an extension project?
Sure.
As an example. So to put this in context, you live in what used to be a semi that was converted into 4 flats.
Yeah, I think technically they're called masonettes because they have their own, is it front door and back door and garden, driveway? But yeah, essentially I look upon it as 4 flats in a semi-detached house.
2 semis that have now become 4 properties, let's say.
That's it, you got it. And
because it's in England and because it's normal, the flat that you occupy is a leasehold.
Yes.
And through discussion and through various ideas, and you've actually progressed a planning application off your own back, where you did the drawings.
Correct.
To essentially create another dwelling in the loft space.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're purpose-built flats, even though it's semi-detached houses, and because of the time they were built, you know, I mean, they're built with some space, and the roof's cavernous. Yeah. And it's not like we're having to develop it too much. I mean, it just has the ability to build into the roof space with a little bit of a dormer extension on one side. But
big, high-pitched roof. So you're not creeping about in the eaves or whatever. It's a big space.
No, absolutely. It's a large 1-bedroom flat, possibly even 2.
And in order to make sure you don't get caught up in a situation where the freeholder's saying, right, well, that's mine or whatever, exactly. One of the things that you've done is you've negotiated the purchase of the freehold.
Correct, yeah. That was a very enjoyable experience. The freeholder was just been a nice experience. He wasn't difficult to deal with. We've had some very good negotiations. I think we came to the right agreement, which suited both parties.
Sure.
So
you're hopefully in the closing straight of buying that freehold.
Correct. Yeah.
Which will mean that when you go up into the loft space to create another dwelling, there's you are the freeholder. So
correct. Yeah. I mean that's and also I've been with a joint venture partner. We've bought the downstairs as well. So technically we'll now own the whole lot. So it's good.
And just sharing top line figures on that particular project, because I know you're involved in lots of projects, so just sharing top line numbers on that project, the actual the site cost, once you're the freeholder, will effectively be zero because it's yours.
Yes. Yeah.
Then the development cost is going to be of the order of 50k.
Yeah, possibly a bit more, but not much more. I mean, 50,000 generally, but you could spend a little bit more, so 50, 60.
So you're literally building a big one, or a normal 2-bedroom flat. So a big 1-bedroom flat or a 2-bedroom flat, and it's costing you £70,000 plus planning, let's say.
Yeah.
What's the finished value on that flat when you've done it?
The downstairs was purchased for just under 300,000. It's bigger. Pessimistically 225, but realistically anything above that 250.
$250,000.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would have said so. I'd be very disappointed if I didn't get that for it if it was sold.
Yeah, well, not that you need to sell it, but just in terms of value creation.
Yeah.
So you're 70k in.
Yeah.
Because normally with new builds, rule of thumb, it's a third, a third, a third. A third for the site, a third for the build, and a third for profit. Which is about right, because if you're spending 70k to create something worth 250, but the beauty here is the site's it's free.
Yeah.
Because you're living underneath it.
Yeah, and of course the freehold is the freehold purchase is not the same as buying a piece of land. It's a little bit easier.
Because it's a very long leasehold.
It is, yeah. It's a 999-year lease that's about 40 years in. So
when it's that long of a lease, the freehold isn't really very valuable.
It doesn't have the same value, no.
Because, I mean, what kind of ground rent are you paying?
Something small, very ridiculous, about £6 or £10 a year or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So when people got leasehold flats, I meet many people, I can't afford to buy the freehold, but it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the freehold could be extremely expensive.
I think normally people assume they know what the freehold is going to cost, and it's generally based on what they see on television programmes because it's a short lease and it's had to be extended or something like that. So they measure it in tens of thousands. Sometimes that's not the case. Well, I think the one thing you learn, particularly on this, being part of the elite course here, is I think you learn a whole new way of a number of things, but particularly it's what you can turn something from and to. It's very much where the development of the roof space came from. Yeah. So I'm always attracted by seeing an empty shop or an empty building and what it could be turned into, whether it's more shops and something above, a shop with some accommodation above or something like that.
And I know one of the pieces of software that you like playing with is Nimbus Maps.
Correct, yeah.
We've had a couple of live sessions where we've done live deal analysis or looking for sites.
Big Brother is watching you.
Yes. So for a really modest amount of money, you get an incredible amount of data with Nimbus Maps. And without giving it away, you're looking at talking to the owner of a couple of the owner of a couple of buildings where there's a national pizza chain on the ground floor.
Yeah.
But then there's nothing above it, is there?
No.
And you found all that online.
Yeah.
And you've got the guy's contact details.
Absolutely.
Everything. And it costs nothing.
Well, apart from a regular monthly subscription.
Yeah, sure.
But negligible, yeah.
So one of your actions coming out of today is you're off to contact that guy.
Yeah.
And essentially say, well, you've got several vacant first floors above this pizza chain. can we do something together?
Yeah.
It's about as broad as that, isn't it?
Well, it's very much like the development of the roof space. I mean, he's got a building, and there's more opportunity for him to make some more money out of the same building, but he just probably doesn't realise that he can. Yeah. So the idea would be that I'd provide the expertise to develop or use the space that he's not, so that he benefits, and so do we.
Yeah, perfect. So whether it's offices, service departments, it's whatever it is. And knowing what you know now, you're also equipped to help him with capital allowances. Yeah,
I mean, there's a whole raft of things that I didn't know, and I mean, I'm learning all the time. But yeah, I mean, there's so many advantages that you can apply to these things that make it beneficial. That it's eye-opening.
In terms of if people want to get in contact with yourself, Nev, and they've got deals that they want critically appraised and maybe joint venture on, would you be open to that?
Of course, yeah. No, I'm always happy. I mean, the one thing I've learned is that you can never share enough, and I'm always open to that. Always happy to provide as much information or help as I can. And if people have got something they want to work on together, I'm always happy with that as well.
Cool. So you've got the experience, you've invested in yourself, you've done a year in Elite.
Yeah.
So if people want to leverage that experience, they just need to bring you a deal and you can look at it together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sweet. All right, last couple of questions if it's all right. And thanks for your time, by the way, really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome.
So if you rewind yourself a year, to when you were making the decision, shall I do Elite, shall I not do the Elite? What was going through your mind when you, because it's a substantial investment, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I'll be the same as anybody out there. They'll be looking and thinking, crikey. They'll probably second guess whether they're worth it. They'll probably try and find reasons to not do it. I look at it now differently, and I suppose the only piece of advice I can give them is whatever way they look at it now, don't. And I mean that in the nicest possible ways, because I don't think you could put a price on what you learn, and so I think whatever price it is, you don't really need to worry too much about that, because you'll see the return. I guess it's probably because you don't see the return or how it could help you when you first apply. So I guess it's scary, but you shouldn't be scared, because it's one of the most rewarding things I've ever done.
Wow, thank you.
No, thank you.
That's very special, very special. And do you think you've made some lifelong friends here?
Yeah, crikey. Yeah, I mean, you can't go through this experience without making people that you'll be in touch with on a regular basis. So, and that's what I mean about sharing. There isn't anybody here that wouldn't share. It's not really a course. I don't really see it as a course. It's more of a way of life, actually, or it's not really a job. It's something that we all enjoy doing, and it's enjoyable the way it's done. It's not a school classroom by any means. It's also I couldn't describe it as being what you would normally expect from a regular course either, because it's quite intimate, because it is small and it's very focused. That's what I mean about you can't put a price on it, I don't think. It's very difficult to put a price on it.
All right. Well, that's it. There's nothing more I can say apart from thank you, Nev.
No, you're welcome.
Pleasure spending time with you as always.
Good.
See you soon.
Bye for now.